Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first meeting in October. We are going to start with a call to order. Madam
May I
Clerk.
read the adequate notice?
That.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the City Clerk's Office in preparation of the Council Annual Meeting Notice dated December 15th, 2022, which was properly distributed and posted per statutory requirements. Please be advised that the fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Allen?
Here.
Ms. Fox?
Here.
Ms. Hamlet?
Here.
Dr. Levine?
Here.
Mr. Miniger?
Here.
President Vartan?
Present. Okay, I will ask our firefighters to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the explanatory notes regarding closed session and hearings and comments.
A closed session meeting, as authorized by state statute, was announced and held prior to the start of this meeting, and the known items for discussion were listed on the published closed session agenda. Please be advised that council meetings are broadcast live on Comcast Channel 36 and Verizon Channel 30, and rebroadcast on Thursdays and Saturdays on HTTV on Comcast 36 and Verizon 33. When invited to speak, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and address, spell your last name, and speak into the podium microphone so that your comments can be understood by all and properly recorded. Whenever an audience or council member reads from a prepared statement, please give or email a copy to the City Clerk's office at cityclerk@cityofsummit.org. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to approximately 3 minutes or so in length. Unless you are using an electronic device to follow the meeting agenda or need it for professional emergency contact purposes, please turn it off. Thank you.
Council President.
No audio from
No audio on live stream?
on the live stream.
Okay.
Okay.
I think our broadcast staff is hearing. Perhaps we can text them.
Can we knock on
And
the door
luckily,
there?
my deputy is here, so she can maybe text.
Hang on just a second, folks.
What are they not seeing outside?
The only people who can actually see what's going on in council right now, we're in the building, we're not in this room. These monitors are not working. Outside. There's a sizable number of people.
It's live on Facebook Live or whatever.
YouTube.
Live.
The monitors outside of this
Outside
room.
of people are outside.
Okay. Can we work on the monitors outside?
Tell the call to turn up the volume on the TV out there.
Okay.
They
If
don't
you can-
have, they don't have visual on. I don't think the YouTube one's working.
They don't have- Clearly, I'm not very good at AV. All right, they're gonna call somebody.
Okay, so I think we're gonna keep going. We're gonna work on the TVs out in the lobby, and I think we're gonna have some more seats open up in a few minutes.
I was just informed that Verizon Channel 30 is broadcasting properly.
Okay, Verizon Channel 30 is broadcasting properly as well. Okay. All right, so we're now at the approval of the minutes, and I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our council meetings September 5th and September 19th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm going to have to recuse on the 19th, but I'm aye on the 5th.
Okay, very good. And so the motion carries. Very good, excellent. We're now going to jumble around the agenda just a little bit, and we're going to go to our swearing in of our fire lieutenant. Madam Mayor.
department as a volunteer firefighter in Chemical Engine Number 1 in February of 2013. In May of 2015, he became a career firefighter. Matt graduated from New Jersey City University with a BS in July of 2022. He has 10 years of experience in emergency services at the local and county levels, including 8 years of full-time professional firefighting with the Summit Fire Department. He has been the Chief of Department for Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department and the FMBA Secretary in 2022. Currently, he is a Union County Fire Academy instructor and has participated since 2019 in the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend and Team Summit. Recently, he was awarded the FMBA 2022 Multi-Jurisdictional Award of Valor. He holds certifications in the following areas: Fire Number 2, Fire Officer 1, Incident Management Level 3, EMT, Fire Inspector Level 2, Fire Inspector, Fire Arson Investigator, Ice Rescue Technician, Swift Water Operations. Matt resides in Berkeley Heights with his wife of 4 years, Jacqueline, and their 2 children, Matthew Jr., also known as MJ, and their daughter, Kinley. Please congratulate Matt on his promotion to fire lieutenant. It's clapping. Is everybody so proud of you, Matt? Repeat after me. I, Matthew Lemons, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States and in this state
established in the United States and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of fire lieutenant
of fire lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wait. Did we get a good one? We forgot someone. Wait, we forgot the star of the show. Kinley! Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. Wonderful. Congratulations. We will move on to, yeah, we'll give you a minute if you want to shuffle a bit. No obligation. Feel free to hang around, though.
A lot of fun stuff to come.
Yeah.
Maybe MJ wants to stay.
Yes, certainly.
I feel like I'm very.
Congratulations.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on?
No, it's just mush. That's all good. We're good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're ready now, right? All right. We'll move on to your report, Madam Mayor.
Good evening. I want to start first by remembering former Mayor Ellen Dixon, who passed away about almost a week ago. She served on council for 6 years, as a member of the zoning board for several years, and of course was our mayor for 4 years. I did not know Ellen well, but I greatly respected her. She was incredibly philanthropic, supporting many, many causes in this community, environmental, and a lot of things with children. She often had interns who would come to City Hall, and she would spend many hours with those young people, helping to mentor them. So she's a loss to this community, and her family is mourning her departure. But I would like to ask if we may please have a moment of silence in honor of former Mayor Ellen Dixon. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Moving on to Administrator Rogers for your report, please.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Just 2 items. A reminder for Summit residents that curbside leaf collection began yesterday, October 2nd, and continues through Friday, December 1st, or the first major snowfall. Leaves should be placed at the curb in paper, biodegradable bags for pickup on household trash collection day. Property owners should not rake or blow leaves into piles in the street, and please do not include twigs, branches, or other yard debris in leaf bags. More information is available at cityofsummit.org/leaf collection. And the last item deals with Canoe Brook Parkway. There were a lot of angry residents down there today, understandably. The city was unfortunately not notified, and PSNG did not notify the residents of this milling that started today. So we were equally as upset, maybe even more so. But I just want to give the community, because we put something out in the last couple hours, milling and paving operations on Canoe Brook Parkway will continue tomorrow, Wednesday, October 4th through next week, and are expected to be completed by Monday, October 16th, weather permitting, of course. Work will be performed between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Road closures and detours will be in effect during milling and paving operation. The road will remain closed for a few hours after paving is complete to allow the pavement to cure. During project work, residents should park on neighboring side streets. PSE&G has notified affected customers, and that's all the information we have at this point for everyone. So that's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have one more thing. For
One
the
more
mayor.
short one. I've never read the bio for one of the officers, police or fire, from my iPad. I've always used paper, and I thought I would jump into it 2 short months before I'm leaving, and then I couldn't find my council comments. So, note to self. Anyway, please join the Summit Police Department for National Coffee with a Cop Day this Wednesday, October 4th, tomorrow, from 1 to 3 p.m. at Boxwood Coffee on 17 Beechwood Road. It's an opportunity for our officers to informally chat with residents, business owners, and those visiting the town for the day. I know these community outreach events are something the police department looks forward to and enjoys. I hope I will see you there. I will stop by and say hello. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On to my report. It will consist of 3 things. First, I will add my words of thanks and remembrance of our former mayor and Council President Ellen Dixon. Her years of dedicated service to Summit are demonstrative of her love for this wonderful place. My thoughts are with her family, who were kind enough to share her with the rest of us for many years. May she rest in peace, and may her memory continue to serve as an inspiration to others. Second, I want to preemptively explain a couple of the items that are on the agenda this evening. A complaint was filed by the attorneys for Broad Street West Managers, LLC, the joint venture of L&M and Toll Brothers, which was previously our redevelopment partner. The city has not been formally served, but will be discussing and voting on a resolution to bring on a law firm as special counsel to represent us in this pending litigation. Because it is a legal matter, we are extremely limited in what we can say about it. However, I will say that this matter was raised and discussed in the Law and Labor Committee meeting, which I attended with Councilmember Hamlet 2 weeks ago on September 19th. Then it was raised and discussed with the full council in our closed session discussion the same day, September 19th. All council members were made aware of this. The complaint is a public document and as such is accessible to anyone, and was discussed again in our closed session meeting this evening. Tonight we are holding a hearing and vote on an ordinance that, if adopted, would repeal the Broad Street West redevelopment plan. The removal of the area in need of redevelopment designation is a separate action. Members of council agree on our desire to be out of the business of redevelopment. The actions we've taken to end the relationship with the developer and to repeal the redevelopment plan later demonstrate that. We intend to remove the area in need of redevelopment designation as well. We have a responsibility to make sure that we follow the appropriate processes and procedures, especially as related to legal risk. Our special counsel will prepare a resolution to be discussed and deliberated at the next council meeting, October 17th, to refer the de-designation of the area in need of redevelopment to the planning board. Unfortunately, in municipal government, there are sometimes more steps involved in the process, and sometimes things take longer than we would like. I understand better than most how frustrating that can be. I expressed my opinion after the July 5th meeting that we should remove the area in need of redevelopment. I believed it would be simpler than it is, but we received feedback and advice from our legal professionals that described more steps and a longer timeline. Though this is often the case in municipal government, I understand the sensitivity around this topic, and if I created the expectation that we could move quicker, I do sincerely apologize. Third, the takeaway on Broad Street West is this, and I will be perfectly clear again. There is no longer a Broad Street West redevelopment project. It is impossible for this council or a future council to go and make any kind of a backroom deal with another developer. As a matter of fact, it's impossible for this council or a future council to do virtually anything at all without public engagement and a majority vote. The members of council, every candidate running for office, and the vast majority of the community who have spoken up are in agreement on this topic. That again, our intention is to be out of the business of redevelopment. At long last, much of the community is on the same page, and council continues to unwind the formal process. It is election season, but I hope we will not allow ourselves in this community to again become divided over this topic for short-term political gain. Thank you very much. We will move on. We have two presentations. First up is a fire headquarters project from Chief Evers.
Thank you, Council President. Before we get started, I just want to thank Council again for supporting the fire department. Every time we have a vacancy to fill, Council is very supportive of us and filling our staffing. So thank you very much for your support with the fire department. We all good, Rosie? Link to bottom.
on, just one second. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Just going to do a quick little update on where we stand with the project. Start with some financial, and we'll go into progress that we've seen for the building. If I can figure the clicker out.
Is it on?
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so original allocation for the project is $16.1 million. That's our budget. That includes the amount that was awarded for the contract to bid. It also includes some contingency money and some Section 20 costs for when the treasurer does bond work for the amount of money. Paid and encumbered so far, construction is $15,595,055.17. Section 20 paid or encumbered, $220,952.09. And our total unexpected balance is $283,992.24. That's pretty much our contingency budget for any kind of overruns. Important note is typically a project of this size is usually about a 6 or 7% contingency budget. That's a normal in construction cost. We did a 3%. We're very confident that we did very thorough work on getting the project, everything we needed in it, and so far we've only spent under $100,000, well over that, in our contingency costs. Change orders to date is $63,804. A lot of those change orders have to do with some of the initial work with the lot, with the construction, with the excavating of the soils. We had some change orders so far to date, credits back, some items that we looked at in change order, we actually got a credit. We kind of lessened some of the products we use and different kind of techniques, so we have a $5,690 credit coming back to us. And another piece that potential money coming back to us in our bid, when we awarded the bid, we had some allowances for unsuitable soil and rocks and stone, part of the site work. So that allowance was $55,500. We invoiced so far from Barama $16,227. So we have a remaining balance of $39,273, and that money could come back to us if that's not going to spend it. So we have a couple other areas to keep our county well within budget. But so far we are within our budget. We have not gone over our budget. I don't foresee it. We do have some issues with New Jersey Transit that was not budgeted for. We're working through that. But as far as the amount of money that was budgeted for the project, we're doing very well with it. We don't foresee going over that. And by the numbers here, we're pretty much well within our budget right now. So we're doing well with that. Real quick, a lot of work's being performed. This is the Broad Street side coming down Broad Street. All the brickwork has been completed except for the front vestibule. They had a little bit of issues with some steel work for an archway, but all the brick are in. Last couple of days, they installed all the window jams in the upper floors, so that's getting installed. Another look, if you're coming down Broad Street, this part faces the parking garage. They're starting to put all the scaffolding, all the brickwork completed. The metal roofing on top is going up. There's only 2 more towers to go, and that'll be all completed. This is another site facing Sloan Dwayne. This site is all completed. The arches are done. All the limestone's up and finished. And they're going to start doing some flashing work up along the soffits. When this part is done, we'll be taking the scaffolding down and we'll start to do all the site work. I'm putting down stone and starting to do the asphalt and concrete apron. Another look just coming down Broad Street, one of the towers. Interior of the building, the 3rd floor is our administrative offices. That's actually very far along, it's pretty much on schedule. All the sheetrock is up. We have one coat of paint on all the walls. All the hallways have all the floor tiles down, and all the floors up on the 3rd floor. The bathrooms are all tiled, the walls and the floors are tiled. They're starting to do some, installing some of the fixtures in the next couple of weeks. Just another room with all sheetrock's on. As you walk up the elevator, this is the front entrance. That's all completed as far as sheetrock, and the floors are all down, and all the painting, first coat of paintings on the walls. Right? That's it. So basically, we do have a little bit of a scheduling delay. So we met with the architects and our project team last week. We meet every 2 weeks. Actually, every week, 1 week's on Zoom, 1 week they come to site. And we want a realistic look at schedule. So they're a little behind schedule. There's been some obstacles in the way early on, but also been some issues with labor and materials. So we're looking now at about a February completion with construction. That's probably a realistic schedule. They were kind of looking toward December, but we wanted something more realistic. We don't think they'll make December. So the new schedule now is probably the middle of February, we should be done with construction, and hopefully with an early spring movement. So as something happens, we'll keep it breath. We're working very closely. There are some runover costs that's associated with extended time frame. Brahma knows that. They'll put on notice that any cost the city incurs, we'll be looking to, have negotiation with them and talking about offsetting costs, the number that the city incurs. So we have a conversation with them. They haven't put on notice. We met with our team and discussed that. So we're keeping track of all the overruns because of the schedule issues. So we have our team is well on top of that. So, but other than that, as far as the quality goes, everything's going well. As far as the building itself goes, no big surprises with construction, with the way the building's been designed. Everything's going pretty much smoothly. So we're in good shape. So with that, I'll happy to answer any questions council has.
Yep.
Yes, through you, Council President. Chief, can you pull up the change order slide again? Sorry to
That's right.
bring it up. You want to go to change? I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Sorry to make you go backwards. Sorry about that.
I think I closed it a little too quickly.
Right there you go.
Okay, sorry, I just want to look at it for a second. So your credits were 5690.
Yeah, top one is what we spent so far on change orders. That came out of our contingency budget.
Okay,
And then the bottom one is credits back. So we're actually getting a credit back to us from the contractor for certain items that we kind of changed throughout the process.
okay, and then can you just go back one slide, Rosie? Sorry.
Sure.
I'm just want to look at the details. Okay, so the original allocation, just confirming, is 16,100.
Yep.
And then I guess through you, Council President, if I can maybe ask Ms. Baldwin, can we just run those? I had asked regarding the change orders, I think a week or so ago. Can you just bounce those off of the ones that I had received last week and just make sure that they're right? I think they're probably right, but I was looking at a little bit of a discrepancy. So if we could, I'm adding up 87,000 in change orders, but I'm not.
There are a couple that have not been
Okay.
paid yet. So this is to date. Last council meeting, there was some change orders approved, but
Okay.
that has not been nothing allocated yet.
Okay, perfect, that's fine.
We're
I just
still
wanna
going
make
through review phase to check everything to make sure the numbers are right.
Okay,
They have been
'cause-
approved, but we haven't paid anything out yet. So
Okay,
next-
got it. 'Cause
next
I have
presentation
87,
will
so I just want to
reflect
make sure
those.
that I'm not wrong or made a miss something.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm excited for all of you.
Great.
Other questions from council? No?
So
Thank
when
you.
I have a
Sorry,
question. When
yep.
you say February, moving in February or done in
No,
February?
So we'll probably be looking with construction punch list, probably starting punch list at the end of January, and hopefully have everything completed with the construction piece of things, middle of February. Before this project, we kind of talked about moving time for us. We looked at about a 4 to 6 to 8 week moving time, once we get the CO for the building, for us to move our operations up. So probably looking like, sometime in March, just by the time we actually get into the building.
Okay,
So, but as we progress, we'll keep on updating that schedule, so,
okay, thank you.
okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I just have one more quick question. Real quick, I was at a Summit Housing Authority this a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and a lot of the seniors were talking about how we put the snow on sort of their side of that, like in front of the old firehouse. Is that the plan for this year? When we remove the snow in front of your building? Or would that be an Aaron
In our
Schrager
current
question?
building, we put everything on our property.
Okay.
I don't think we pushed it to the
Okay,
side.
maybe I'll ask Director Schrager then. It might
Yeah,
be
yeah, but
something.
we do have areas on our new site that accommodate snow overload.
Okay,
So
perfect,
there are
thank
some
you.
parking spots
That's
along the
exactly.
tracks that have snow overload in there, so.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Yep, so,
Thank you, Chief.
great, thank you, appreciate your time, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we have another presentation, and this is from our Chief Communications Officer about our new Smart 911 emergency alert system.
Great, it works. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here to talk about the new emergency alert system. It's been a while since I've been at council, so, and I'm glad to see a full room because we need to tell as many people as possible to sign up. Why are we doing it? We used to previously have used a SwiftReach network for emergency notifications. And they were acquired by Rave Mobile Security that has the Smart 911 platform. Now, we had previously suggested to residents over the last several years that they develop a Smart 911 profile because it's an important tool for first responders to know who's in a house, how many bedrooms are on each floor. So we had been promoting that. So it's actually a nice coincidence that that's who bought SwiftReach. But we didn't necessarily want to change, but we believe it will ultimately enhance communications, and that's our goal. So the features of Smart 911 aren't dramatically different from the SwiftReach network. Accuracy and timeliness are two of their stated features. We have been able to target specific areas of the community that need alerts, like if there was a boil water emergency for a section of town, we were able to isolate that and send the alert. But the tool we used didn't allow us to really draw the shapes so that it could target exactly where we needed to go. And now with this new system, we're able to target exactly where we need to go and not just draw circles and squares, but we can create our own shapes. And that's pretty exciting. And the customizability that I mentioned, it allows you to enter as much or as little information that you want about your family, about your home, about the number of cars you have in your driveway, all of that. And it's designed to be a tool for first responders. So the registration process. We sent out an emergency notification to everyone who had previously signed up for Swift 911. When we did that, we heard from 6 people in the community who are having trouble, which I think is pretty amazing because we have over 14,000 of them that went out. I did hear from a couple people that said, I don't live in town, please take me off. And those people will be removed automatically because they're not opting in. So it was a nice way for us to create a clean list going forward. But you have to opt in and create a Smart 911 profile in order to receive alerts from the City of Summit. You can do that on the website, or you can download the Smart 911 app from the App Store or Google Play. The benefits. You get alerts from us, which is one of our goals. We want to be able to reach everyone during emergencies, and this is the true emergency alert system. We don't send these out for anything other than actual emergencies, as you all know. It also provides the emergency services with the information they need to be more effective and efficient. And when you sign up, one of the first prompts that you see is what language do you want to receive alerts in? And there are 20 different languages, and it's really easy to use. The back end of the last system was definitely very challenging, and I was relieved to see how easy the front end is, as well as the back end for us. So we have 14,093 subscribers that we can send phone, home landline calls to, text and email and mobile phone. So the number below that says 7,654 that I put there, it's mostly for myself. That's how many people subscribe to Nixle. So we reach a lot more people, a lot more residents and businesses with our emergency alert system. We probably send out 3 a year on a busy year. And Nixles, as people know, we send out weekly, sometimes daily, when there are public safety issues that are happening. And just to explain, Nixle originally was just for the police department, and it was something they implemented, and they would send these notifications out. It's expanded over recent years to include more fire and DPW city-related information, but it is primarily police department focused. Whenever we promote emergency alerts, we encourage people to sign up for Smart 911 and Nixle because we want as many people as possible to subscribe to every platform. Oops. So when we were doing our community outreach, the last time we switched from Code Red to SwiftReach, that was 10 years ago when I first started in this position, it was really difficult because the sign-up process on Swift 911 is not straightforward. And we saw hundreds of residents come in, a lot of older residents who were super confused and needed our help. So we had a team of interns that helped us move this forward. So this time, anticipating that there could possibly be some sort of issue with people being able to sign up, we looked at what our community outreach plan should be. And we created a YouTube video that takes you step by step through the sign-up process. That's on our YouTube channel. We shared that on Facebook, as well as a series of ongoing posts that we keep running about please sign up for notifications. It's on Instagram and Twitter. We sent it out to the news media. We have it on our website, and then we sent out website notifications to everyone who subscribes, and there are 11,000 and change citizens who subscribe to our website notifications. We're also doing community outreach because we want people to be able to come in and have a human who can help them. So we're doing general sign-up assistance on Wednesday, October 11th from 5 to 7 in the police department lobby right outside. We're doing assistance for seniors on October 12th, 13, and 18 at different locations. Sage invited us to come. We'll be at the community center, and then we'll be at 12 Chestnut at the Vito Gallo building. We're also going to the Grace Fair this Thursday at 2 different time slots to sign up people who come to Grace. So that's the outreach that we're starting with, and if we need to add more, we will. But my email address for the communications office is at the end of this presentation, and anyone who needs help should definitely email us, and we'll set up a time for you to come in. So just to summarize, I know everyone knows this, but we're dedicated to ensuring the safety and well-being of all residents and businesses, and to proactively engage all members of the community. So this new platform will help us do that in a better way than we had previously been able to do that with the SwiftReach network. And I encourage everyone who's here tonight to please sign up. So just for a show of hands, how many people on the dais have signed up for Smart 911? All right, Mark.
I will tonight.
Okay, thank you.
It's in the corner.
I downloaded the app.
Okay, all right.
Halfway there.
I'm done downloading new apps. You know that about me. But I did sign up on the website. But really, for real, if you only engage with municipal government in one way, this needs to be it, because this is what's going to be the most important. So thank you.
Please.
Thank you. Let's ask some. Can we ask some questions?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I hope it's not the only way that we actually interact with municipal government, but it is a smart way. And thank you, Amy, because you actually helped me sign up. And I'm just wondering, can we go to the City of Summit website on this, Rosie, to just show people where on the website it is, by chance? Only because it was helpful when you showed it to me, Amy.
So Rosemary, when you go to government, it's on the emergency management page.
Let me just see if I can get through
And one of the other features that I didn't mention is that when Lisa and I were going through, there was a prompt that says, is someone helping you? And you can click yes, and then put that person's contact information in, so that annually, when they ask you to update your profile, they'll email the person who assisted you, because you need help. But Lisa didn't need help, so she didn't put my name.
Debatable.
You said on the government page?
No, go to,
So from the homepage.
hover over government.
Yeah.
And then you'll see emergency management. It's in the second row. Click there. Scroll down a little bit. Keep going. And then see where it says Smart 911? Right there, you just click on that. And then it takes you here. And this is how you sign up. And one of the things that I've been noticing is that if you live close to Route 24 and Milburn, they'll actually prompt you to see if you want to sign up for Milburn's alerts too, because you might be affected by what happens just across the way. So that's a nice feature as well. So you
Interesting.
click sign up now. And then you go to the screen, and there's it's hard to see, but there's the someone helping you prompt underneath the last name. It allows you to specify the language, and that this is where you opt in for City of Summit
Thank you.
information.
That's for anyone who doesn't want to actually download the app. And thank you for all the outreach that you're going to be doing. I think that is hugely helpful. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other questions, council members? Okay, thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you. I know how much work you've put into this and worried about how hard it would be and making sure it was easy for the members of the public to sign up. So thank you.
And you didn't ask for it, it just happened. And you
No,
had to
it's
deal
not,
with it. And
it's
you had
not
to
our
deal with it.
initiative, like they
Yeah.
were bought, so.
Yeah, and you just had to deal with it, and you're doing that with grace, so thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, all right, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna move a couple things around in the agenda again here, because we have an empty seat on the dais. So I wanted to just start with the resolution to appoint our new council member from Ward 1. So sorry I didn't give you any warning on that, Councilmember Hamlet, but if we can move that up, we'll do that right now, whenever you're ready.
Sorry, I lost all my notes. Okay. Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 10609, as discussed in closed session tonight, which will appoint new council member in Ward 1, which will be Phyllis Sank, and transfer all 2023 committee assignments to her. I would like to make a motion to move this resolution.
And I'll second that. And I'll start by saying many thanks to the Summit Municipal Democratic Committee for providing us a list of highly qualified individuals to replace retired Councilmember Susan Hairston, who is happily settling into her new fellowship at the University of Chicago. After discussion in closed session, the consensus of council is that Phyllis Sank will be our choice to serve as our new member of council from Ward 1. She has been a tireless servant of this community, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars toward charitable causes, leading Mayor Whitman's committee for site selection of the new City Hall, which is where we're all sitting now, co-chairing the Summit Centennial Celebration, serving on the planning board, and leading the master plan process in 2000. In her half-century in Summit, she has helped some of our most influential leaders get elected and advise them along the way. Phyllis is whip smart. She will ask the right questions, and after decades spent helping to shape this city from behind the scenes, it is time for Phyllis to take a leading role on the main stage. It is my great honor and pleasure to support her appointment as council member of Ward 1. And just a reminder, this is for the remainder of the term through the end of this calendar year. Okay, other comments from members of council? All right, and I think so, pending our vote now, we're gonna have a swearing in tomorrow morning. And, all right, so let's do a vote. Let's actually do a roll call vote on this one, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Enthusiastic aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Miniger?
Aye.
President Vartan?
Aye. Excellent. The motion carries, and we look forward to swearing in our new council member tomorrow morning. Thank you. Okay, so now back to the order of the meeting as advertised. We're moving on to two ordinances for hearing. So the first, please read, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 23-3291, ordinance of the City of Summit, County of Union, New Jersey, repealing ordinance number 19-3188, adopting the Broad Street West redevelopment plan dated March 20th, 2019, in accordance with the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 et sec.
Okay, Councilmember Levine.
Thank you, Council President. Ordinance number 23-3291 serves to do three things. 1, repeal the Broad Street West redevelopment plan. 2, repeal the original ordinance adopting the Broad Street West redevelopment plan. And 3, to implement the zoning that was applicable to the property immediately prior to adoption of the Broad Street West redevelopment plan. On September 5th of this year, I moved this ordinance for introduction, and it was introduced in a unanimous vote. Currently, the redevelopment plan supersedes all previous zoning standards. So if this ordinance is enacted tonight, the zoning of the land will revert to its previous designation. Anytime there is a change in zoning, the planning board must review it to ensure it's not inconsistent with the city's master plan. As such, the planning board met on September 26th and voted 5-1 that this ordinance was not inconsistent with the city's master plan. So now we are here again to have the hearing on this ordinance and then to vote on it. Before I move to open the hearing for this ordinance, I'd like to briefly share my deliberations on the matter. It is my opinion that it is in the best interest of our community to put an end to the Broad Street West redevelopment project. This redevelopment plan we will vote on shortly was disliked by our community, and it led to a proposal that was strongly disliked by our community. As a reminder, the preceding step taken to disentangle us from this Broad Street West redevelopment project took place on July 5th of this year, when we voted unanimously to cease negotiations with the developer and to sever ties. The 3 intervening months have included substantial due diligence, legal guidance, and an act of the planning board. As I have shared publicly already, I believe that repealing the area in need of redevelopment designation should be the next step in unwinding this process. Lastly, it is my opinion that after serving on council for this past year, that our municipality should not be in the redevelopment business. I move to open this hearing for ordinance 23-3291.
And I second that.
Okay, I'll open the hearing with the reminder to both council members and the public that we're going to try to keep comments focused on this ordinance, which is repealing the redevelopment plan. We're going to have our conversation about the area in need of redevelopment next council meeting. So with that, I'll open the hearing. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. So I was going to make a motion tonight to put a resolution on the agenda next council meeting, because I felt as though I wanted to be committed to getting rid of the area in need of redevelopment. I am thrilled that we decided as a council that that's going to happen, that I don't need to do that from the floor, because the resolution will be on our next council meeting. It's been a long 1.5 2 years, and I think that I appreciate everybody showing up the last 2 years. We're not out of redevelopment yet. We're heading in that direction. There are 3 steps. We de-designated the developer. We are going to repeal the redevelopment plan tonight, which is resounding from the community that we need to do that. And we can put it behind us when we end up sending a resolution to the planning board for them to de-designate the area in need of redevelopment. We need to live up to our commitment to this community. I think we need to get back on a road of trust, and that we do what we say what we do. And I want to thank everybody as I look out in this room, that everybody's here tonight to be committed to this process together. And I look forward to turning the chapter and starting something new with you guys, with the residents. So thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council President. I was going to wholeheartedly second Ms. Allen's motion tonight. I thought it was really important to do that from the floor tonight if we had not been able to come to some consensus, which thankfully we did. The public deserves it. 9/5, I made a statement urging that we draft a resolution with the guidance from professionals by the next meeting, which would de-designate that area in need of redevelopment. We're now here on October 3rd, and I'm thrilled that we are holding the hearing for this ordinance. Our legal counsel will be preparing a resolution to de-designate the area in need of redevelopment that will be sent to the planning board. If this is approved, it will allow experienced professionals who must adhere to our zoning laws and be approved by our planning and zoning boards. This normal process takes place in public forum where all you, the citizens, the residents who own this land, can participate. This solidifies our decision that we are no longer in the business of redevelopment and there is no other developer in the mix. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Other members of council? Members of the public, we're going to ask you to keep it to 3 minutes, please. Nope.
Nobody wants to come up and say hello. First, I want to thank you for taking this step. Second, I have copies of the lawsuit, so if anybody didn't get a copy of or get served, if you'd like a copy, I can give you one. Brought lots of extras if anybody wants one. Second, I also want to remind everybody up here that you're mic'd. So when you make comments, people who are watching, I heard a comment made by our solicitor towards me. It was very offensive. And there's been comments made by you guys before towards the people in the public that we've heard. So I just want to remind everybody the facial gestures that you just gave, Ms. Fox. We see these things. So we're trying to be kind and be nice, but just remember these things we hear afterwards hurt us, okay? We have feelings too. And we have been here, meeting after meeting, waiting for this news, waiting to hear that Anor is going to be removed. And Mr. Vartan, I'm sorry, but Broad Street West is not over until that is gone. And I will still be here saying, redevelopment is still here until that is over. And then we can have a party, okay? Please. Please do us that favor and respect us as well. Now, this lawsuit, I would like to understand a little bit about this lawsuit, because from what we're hearing, I don't understand how members of council can vote when they haven't seen or been served this lawsuit. So that's a concern of mine. Council members have the responsibility to the public to vote with all the information available. On September 5th, they voted to introduce tonight's ordinance. So how can it be that this lawsuit is apparently being discussed when it's come to closed session for the first time tonight? This should have been given the first time they were notified. We, as a resident for Summit, found this as it's a public document. So if somebody on council was given this, it should have been disseminated to everybody here, not these closed conversations. It's not acceptable. We all have to be open and honest, and it needs to start with Council President. It needs to start with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Copies?
All right. So the city, as I explained at the beginning of, in my council president's report, the city has not yet been served. As I explained, this was discussed in the Law and Labor Committee on September 19th, and then in the closed session on September 19th, and then again this evening. I don't think I should say anything more about the lawsuit than that at this point.
No, it's active litigation. There's a motion on this evening's agenda for the appointment of special counsel, which will be discussed shortly, but we're not going to discuss active litigation. We're retaining a specialist who specializes in this area of the law to defend the city, and that's what we can say at this point. But it was discussed at the last council meeting in closed executive session, and I made a recommendation at that meeting as to who the council should retain based on expertise.
Thank you. Okay. Other things about this ordinance?
Kevin Goy, Woodland Ave. I have a quick question. It's my understanding that Mariziti stopped representing us when we terminated the designated developer agreement with the developers. So I was just curious, you're talking about hiring a new attorney now. I know that at the time when you did that, it was pretty clear that they had said they were probably going to bring litigation against us. And it was my understanding always that the main focus of a redeveloper's litigation in this case, this was told to me by Mariziti, and I'm sure he spoke to you about it, was exactly the claim that they're making, that you would use their work and their time and their money for your own benefit to then go and work with another redeveloper. At the time, we talked about, well, then you get rid of the area needed redevelopment immediately because then they don't have a claim. But I'm just wondering, as time has passed, who has been representing? Do you have a land use attorney that's advising you on the decisions you've been making? And then just a follow-up for what you're saying, the served. I think the only difference between served and notified is when you get served, you're put on the clock. So you have a certain period of time to respond to the complaint, and you haven't been given that. We don't know when you were notified. We understand that people talked about it on September 19th for the first time. I think the concern is that you're all representatives of us. You're all elected officials, and you all have an equal vote. And everybody should have access to the same information at the same time. And if somebody doesn't have a lawsuit and somebody else does, the person who doesn't have the lawsuit can't make as an informed decision when they take votes. They don't have as much time to ask questions about it, and so on and so forth. But I think the only thing I'm just trying to clarify that. The only thing I just want to understand is who has been advising the city on the decisions it's been making, including tonight, if we don't have a land use or litigation attorney, if Mariziti stopped.
Thank you. Matt, do you want to address any of that?
The only thing that's been advised thus far, we can't tell you attorney-client privilege. In terms of the litigation, I just said I gave council recommendations at the last closed session meeting about appointing special counsel, and the council met with that special counsel this evening in closed session, who provided legal guidance to the council, which ultimately they're going to be considering his appointment this evening. So that will be forthcoming. It's an expert in this area of the law, and has a lot of experience with redevelopment litigation, affordable housing, et cetera. So that's the reason that we've recommended this person. I haven't talked to anybody other than that, except for Mr. Rogers and myself. I mean, this happened on the 19th is when we spoke to the council for the first time, and then again this evening. So nothing has been done. All the formal action taken with regard to this litigation and guidance going forward will be directed by the person that they're going to be appointing this evening.
Thank you.
It would be interesting, I think, for the public to hear, so that they're clear what the process was. When was the city contacted? How were we contacted? What date did that happen? I think that the public.
I can explain what I found. There was supposed to be a meeting with the redevelopers, or the de-designated redevelopers, pre-litigation, and then we were advised that they had filed litigation. So on or about, I think it was probably, I think the 19th was a Tuesday? The 15th. The 14th you were told. I was at the office. The 15th I went on to the state database, the court docket, got the docket, saw it, shared it with Michael. The complaint is a public record. It was not served yet. I actually know the attorney who filed the suit, spoke to him, said, "You didn't serve it." He said, "We didn't serve it yet. They were worried about they have a 45-day period of time to commence a litigation. It's called a prerogative writ action. So they wanted to make sure that they filed it within 45 days. They said, we're going to be discussing special counsel. I'll let you know who that is when they're appointed. And so then the next meeting we had was that Tuesday. That's when we spoke to the governing body in closed session about the presence of the lawsuit, the fact that it had not yet been served, and the recommendation for special counsel.
So through you, Council President,
Can we try to stay focused on the
I just want
repeal
one-
of the redevelopment plan, though?
Yes,
Ordinance?
I just want to answer
Because we're
one
going to
question.
have the other conversation about the.
No, I
bringing
know.
out- yeah.
Through you, Council President. I'm just one last question. So did anyone on council know before the 19th? I think that's what the community's asking.
Did anyone on, I didn't speak to anybody on council. Matt Jacoby, I spoke to Mike Rogers. That's the only person I
Okay.
spoke to. And I actually reached out to the council that I recommended to you guys on the 19th to make sure that they had no conflicts. Because that was a big concern Michael and I talked about, was making sure that they were not engaged with either of the developers.
Okay, so through you, Council President, I just would like to know the answer. Did you know before the 19th?
Me,
Yes.
personally? Yes. Yeah,
Okay, and
I
did anyone else, was the information shared with anyone else aside from council before any other council members knew?
No.
Okay, that's all we were.
Yep. Thank you.
Uh,
Can we, again, can we stay focused on the redevelopment plan?
You didn't really know what I was going to ask, so can I just, and then you can
I just
shut
wanna
me
make
down
sure.
if I'm going to
I
ask
just
an
wanna-
inappropriate question.
Sure.
So if you get the information on the 14th, is it your responsibility to pass the information to the rest of council so that we can make an informed decision?
So here's my answer to that, is I was advised by Michael and by Matt that because this had not yet been served, it was the best decision to make to speak about it as a group in closed session and in the Law and Labor Committee. So that is the decision that I made. We spoke about it as a council, and then we spoke about it as a committee, then we spoke about it as a full council, and now we're here.
But Council President, was it public information at the time that you learned the information?
It was public information. The
publicly
moment it's filed with the courts, it's public information. I was not aware of it. I don't scan the courts. When I heard that there was this possibility of a lawsuit, I went and looked and saw it. But again, it was a Friday. I think the 15th was a Friday. There was a weekend. I was in a wedding that weekend. Well, I attended a wedding. I wasn't in it. It was a little discerning because I remember when she was 2 years old. Now she's married. And I spoke to Michael as I was traveling to the wedding, and then we had the law and labor and stuff like that. So if I, and then Michael, when I found out that you guys actually hadn't seen the lawsuit, that's why I forwarded it to Rosie so that she could share with you. I could have easily brought it to the closed session. But we did discuss it in detail of what the claims were on the 19th, which was 4 days after I got it off the public docket. It was filed, I don't have it with me, but it was filed quite a time before that. So it was on the docket for quite a while.
Yes, Council President. I think my frustration was, as the chair of Law and Labor, obviously we talked about having the lawsuit. We did, all of us, we spoke about that in closed session, but part of my frustration is, we can only make decisions for the residents if we have all of the information. And part of that is looking at the actual lawsuit, which was filed on October 21st. So I think going forward, maybe just as,
So
August.
it was made
August,
very
right.
clear, it was made very clear in Law and Labor, when we spoke about it, that this was available. And it had changed. And again, we had not yet been served. So this was.
It's just really hard to
This
find.
was available. This was available.
It's
Nobody
really hard
was
to find.
hiding any information. And to suggest that any information was being hidden is frankly irresponsible. So.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did any council member ask to see it and was told no?
No, certainly not. Certainly not. Okay, we're going to keep this, again, I want to keep comments focused on the repeal of the redevelopment plan ordinance.
Is this public comments now?
No.
No.
This is
No.
on
No.
the redevelopment plan ordinance only.
No, all
Public
right.
comments will be at the end.
On this docket, yes.
Yeah.
On this topic,
Yes.
the
Thank you.
repeal of the redevelopment plan.
Yes, I'm Kevin Smallwood, 160 Summit Avenue. So this was public information on the 19th of September.
No, sir, that would be at the second public comment. The only thing we're taking comments on right now is
I understand
the
that,
repeal.
but this lawsuit was public information on the September 19th. Well, it was,
We didn't know.
So
if
again,
I want to go look for it
Kevin,
on September
Kevin,
19th.
I really would like us to keep comments. We're in a hearing right now.
I understand
on
that.
the redevelopment plan.
I understand
repeal.
that. But you knew about this on September 19th when you introduced this, correct?
No, it's September, this was introduced on September the 5th.
This
and
ordinance
no one
was
knew about
introduced
it.
September 5th.
Okay, so you knew about this?
No, we did not.
No.
Okay, but it was public information at that time?
It was filed with the courts, but no one knew about it.
Okay, so it took a Summit resident to actually put this on a social media for us to actually find out about this lawsuit. Whether you're able to talk about it, the advice that you were given by counsel, you knew about this. Don't you think that information should have come from counsel? I'm not only I'm disappointed, but I'm more than outraged about this. You knew about this. It was public information, and it took one of our residents to find it and put it out there. It's unacceptable. You mentioned this is election season. I wish you would govern like it's election season every single day.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. That was a very nice campaign speech. Thank you for sharing. Councilwoman Allen. Councilwoman Hamlet, I've heard you say several times that your goal here
Can we
is
get?
to serve
I'm sorry.
the
Can we get
people.
your name and address?
Oh, my name is Jonathan Betts. I live at 3 Stacy Court. You've each said several times that your goal here is to serve the community. The issue at hand is repealing whatever this motion is. The issue is not this lawsuit, right? Let's let the government function. Let's vote on the resolution that's on the table, and just please stop obstructing, okay?
May I make
Like,
a comment?
we don't need this, right?
Thank you.
We need to get business done. This is not, like, leave the campaigning outside, write your angry letters to the editor, but like, let's get the business of government done tonight.
You let that one go, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have something you want to say?
Guys, we gotta not, please.
Alan Dickey, Canoe Parkway.
Stop.
Sir,
I'll
ask
just wanna
everyone-
make one
I'll ask everyone in
comment
the audience.
about the long history of bipartisanship in Summit. I've lived here since 1977, and I've seen the Summit change in a lot of ways, most of them for the better.
Sir, excuse me, could you
And
could you
the
speak
fact
into the
that
microphone, please?
The suspicion and distrust of the function of the Summit government is a new thing, which I blame mostly on social media. However, going back to the Broad Street West project, this was a bipartisan project that goes back a long way. And it has been a bipartisan project all along. And there is no reason for people in this room to distrust the way they distrust what the process of government in Summit is. Closed sessions have been held ever since I was aware of the way the Summit government works. There is nothing being hidden here. Nobody
Sir,
knows.
can I ask you to speak this way and also
All right.
if you can wrap up your comments, please.
Anyway, I just want to say that this is a wonderful community to live in, and we should all be happy that it's so good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Danielle Maloney, 224 Oak Ridge Avenue. I just have a question on this ordinance. What year was it you're repealing this ordinance? When was the ordinance brought into effect?
Do you have other questions as well?
No.
Okay.
2019.
2019.
2019.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank
Yes.
you.
The plan, yeah.
Deborah Oliver, 37 Tulip Street. I just want to make a comment, not ask a question, that in my opinion, since we're considering repealing an ordinance, that involves knowing as much information as possible about the subject at hand, it is highly relevant to be able to discuss when disclosures were made or not made to members of council, and whether they had the full information in front of them when they were asked to introduce an ordinance. So while I'm happy that the repeal vote is going to be taken, I hope it passes, I do think it is relevant to discuss the timing of whether the chair of the law committee had all the information in front of her when she was part of the introduction of an ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, just to be clear, just to be very clear, the city was not aware of this at the September 5th meeting when this ordinance was introduced. We're moving ahead with it now because we have had the planning board review it and because we discussed it with legal counsel. Yes, sir.
Dennison Harriel, 140 Broad Street, Summit. Excuse me. I'm concerned because we've talked about civility before, and it seems like we're becoming uncivil again. So that's one concern. But my second thing is to you, Council President. As I came in this evening, I obtained a copy of the agenda. And the agenda clearly outlines what is supposed to be discussed. And as I look at it, we are on 23-3291. I think, and I'm not lecturing the chair, but I think going forward, whether you're the chair or whoever, that when you speak to sticking to the matter at hand, that you be forthright in doing that, or else, you know, we'll be here until midnight. So I think you have a gavel, use it, stick to what is there. You have that right, you have that ability, you have that power, so there will be no obstructions, distractions, and we can be orderly, civil, and get about accomplishing what is to be accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think at this point, we're going to close the hearing on this ordinance. Thank you. We're on to another ordinance for hearing. Would you read this one, please, Madam Clerk?
Yes. Ordinance number 23-3298, an ordinance amending the code, Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-8, Parking, subsection 7-8.7, Parking prohibited at all times on certain streets.
Excellent. And Councilmember Fox.
Thank you, Council President. This ordinance amends the code to prohibit parking at all times on the east side of Morris Avenue between Bedford Road and Norwood Avenue. And this was done to improve the line of sight and thereby enhancing public safety. I move that we open the hearing on this ordinance. And I think I need a second.
I will second that. Okay, our hearing is open. Comments from members of council? Okay. Comments from members of the public?
Henry Bassman, 18 Hartley Road. I want to commend you for taking this action. I live at the corner of Hartley Road and Kennebuck Parkway. I drive to Bedford practically every weekday morning, turn right on Bedford, and then turn left on Morris Avenue. Last year, when there were cars parked right near the corner, the sight lines were horrible. I almost got into an accident, hairbreadth from not being hit because I couldn't see a car coming from my left. This is a tremendous improvement in safety in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, members of the public? Okay, I think we're going to close the hearing on this one as well. Okay, we're moving on to ordinances for final consideration. And would you please read them? The first one, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 23-3291, ordinance of the City of Summit, County of Union, New Jersey, repealing ordinance number 19-3188, adopting the Broad Street West redevelopment plan dated March 20th, 2019, in accordance with local redevelopment and housing law and JSA 40A:12A-1 et sec.
Thank you. Councilmember Levine.
Thank you, Council President. Having just held the hearing for this matter, I move this ordinance for adoption.
And I second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Miniger?
Aye.
President Vartan?
Aye, and the motion carries. Thank you. And on to the next one, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 23-3298, an ordinance amending the code, Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-8, Parking, subsection 7-8.7, Parking prohibited at all times on certain streets.
Okay, Councilmember Fox.
Thank you, Council President. Having held the hearing on this ordinance, I move this ordinance for final adoption.
I will second that, and let's have a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Miniger?
Aye.
President Vartan?
Aye. Thank you. The motion carries. Okay, we have one ordinance for introduction. Would you please read that one, Madam Clerk?
ID number 10681, an ordinance amending the code of the City of Summit, Chapter 2, Article 3, Section 2-13, Purchasing Department, subsection 2-13.5, bid threshold.
Okay, and Councilmember Miniger.
Thank you, Council President. This is an ordinance that amends the section of City Code dealing with the qualified purchasing agent's newly clarified and formalized authority under the updated New Jersey pay-to-play laws. The city has been already awarding contracts appropriately, and this ordinance serves to codify that process in our city code. I move to introduce this ordinance.
I second.
Okay, we will have a hearing on this at the next council meeting on the 17th. Do we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Fox?
Aye.
Ms. Hamlet?
Aye.
Dr. Levine?
Aye.
Mr. Miniger?
Aye.
President Vartan?
Aye, thank you. And moving on to resolutions. We have a couple more from Law and Labor. Councilmember Hamlet.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 10686. This will appoint Special Counsel Tom Scrivo of O'Toole Scrivo LLC to provide legal guidance and defense in the lawsuit that has been filed by the Broad Street West managers, which authorizes professional services in excess of $17,500, not to exceed $50,000. I would like to make a motion to move this resolution.
Okay, I will second that. Comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. And last one, Councilmember Hamlet.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 10682, which will authorize the execution of the Policeman Benevolent Association, PBA Local 55, Contract 2023-2026, as discussed in closed session today. About a year ago, we started the discussions with the PBA. Our city administrator has spent significant time negotiating this, and I'm happy to support this. Furthermore, I would like to thank our entire police department for their hard work, dedication, and priority in keeping the city of Summit safe. I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution.
I will second that. And comments from members of council? I'll also just add my thanks to Administrator Rogers and the leadership of the PBA, Local Number 55, for their diligent work in reaching a fair contract agreement. Comments from members of the public? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. And we have one resolution from Administrative Policies. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution, I'd like to introduce resolution number 1069, Knockout Opioid Abuse Day. Its official recognition day is on October 6th and is designed to raise awareness about the dangers of and the links between opioid abuse and heroin addiction. It also aims to educate healthcare providers, community leaders, lawmakers, and members of the public about the opioid abuse epidemic and its effects throughout the state of New Jersey and across the country. According to the CDC, more than 1 million people according to the CDC, more than 1 million people have died since 1999 from drug overdoses. In 2021, opioids killed more than 80,000 people, and more than 75% of those drug overdoses involved opioids, which includes heroin and synthetic opioids like fentanyl. I attended the walkout on drugs at the Elks, and one of the hot discussions was the issue of children and young adults buying what they would think are prescription drugs on the internet. They get what they think is a prescription drug, they take it, and they die because it's laced with fentanyl. So over the summer, I went to the NCSL conference where Dr. Rahul Gupta, he's the National Director of Drug Policy to the White House, and he reported that over 100,000 people die a year of drug overdoses. This is a serious issue, both for young children, parents, and adults. It needs more attention than we are giving it and ongoing discussions in our community so we can keep each other safe. With that, I'd like to move this adoption for resolution. Move for adoption, sorry.
I second.
Okay, comments from members of council?
Sure.
Yes.
I'll make a comment. The problem is even so much bigger than what you stated so nicely. It's not just about deaths. In my professional career, I've cared for so many people who've survived their overdose of an opioid, and the results are catastrophic, if not fatal, can be catastrophic and just really ruin someone's life and cause a tremendous burden of disability and illness that results. And it's not just the pain and suffering of that individual, but their family and everyone they touch. And I'm so glad that you brought forth this resolution and that we in Summit are underscoring our governor's effort to stomp out opioid abuse with this. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other comments from members of council? Comments from members of the public? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. We're on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And
Second.
do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Comments from members of the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we're on to the public comment section of the evening. At this point, we'll take comments on things that are not topics on the agenda, and we will ask people to limit their comments to 3 minutes.
Man, I'm Dennison Harriel, 140 Broad Street. 140 Broad Street Summit. I want to take this time to thank the mayor and the members of Common Council and some of you in the chamber this evening for supporting our church, Wallace Chapel Amy Zion Church, on September the 10th at our 100th anniversary celebration. It was heartwarming to see many of you there. And I think all of the persons on the dais were there, except Matt. He was in court probably. And Michael, I don't know where you were.
He was helping me in court.
Okay. But I think everyone else was there, so I really appreciate that. I also appreciate those who contributed to our Go Fund. Whatever amount that you contributed is much needed and appreciated. And also thank you for your encouragement to me, because on this past Sunday, I celebrated 34 years as pastor of the church. So thank you very much. And the final thing I want to say to the council is that don't wait until special celebratory moments to come to the church. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Okay.
Guy Hazelman, 21 Ruthven Place. I really wasn't planning on saying anything tonight, but I was just noticing the conversation and how this meeting began. And I thought it began really well. I think that you felt the pulse of the community in terms of wanting information about putting Broad Street West to bed, And the questions that were asked, or at least that I read about on social media, and I don't know if you read social media, but you answered a lot of those questions, and I give you credit for that. And what I saw is a unanimous board. I hadn't seen that in a long time, where you actually all were agreeing and you were cooperating, and then unfortunately we kind of turned the good vibe into a not so good vibe. But that type of standard and, was really wonderful in my opinion to see. And you also listened to the voice of the people. You took an idea, it morphed into something that I think got away from us. The people really spoke out, and then it was met with, more opposition. The people spoke out even more, and eventually the thing went away, and you addressed it. So we're getting rid of redevelopment. We're eventually going to get rid of the area in need of redevelopment. It's a process. That's what I heard. I think the people should be really happy about that. They got what they want. And so to turn that into something and where it got a little heated. What I think people were upset about is that there may be a pending lawsuit. And I say that because it's a little weird. It was filed, but yet we weren't served. And I think there's a little confusion, certainly I have it, I'm not a legal, as to what that means. If you file something, I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe they discovered they don't have a very good lawsuit, so they never served us. And maybe we don't have to worry. And so the only thing I didn't like that I saw here a little bit, I don't want to then turn a good, feel-good thing into a bad thing, was that this time frame that everybody is implying, who knew what where, is a fair question on the one hand, but what it insinuates is that things are being covered up from them, okay? And that I didn't hear that, and it wasn't the case. That when it was filed, nobody knew about it. But if we're not served, how are we supposed to know about it, right? And then the time frame. And I would just say, we can ask that question because we're not privy to it. But I would say that when you guys want to get on the same page, Councilwoman Hamlet and Vartan, you guys could have figured out when each other knew what, and then when it came to your committee. And it sounds to me as if it came to your committee at the first moment after you knew. So I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't want to relive it, but all I'm saying is, you guys can do things kind of behind the private, so because it made it seem as if there was, suspicion. And that's the last thing we need. We don't need suspicion. We need to do what you guys did earlier, speak from a united voice. And so I'm really, want to end by giving you guys a lot of credit for addressing the concerns, what were a lot of those concerns about getting rid of it, and then speaking so really well and giving the people what they ultimately had been fighting for. So thank you very much.
Council President?
Thank you.
May I make a comment, Council President?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Guy. I appreciate your comment. I'd like to be very clear that although our council president is our council president, when it comes to disseminating information, it's very important that we all get the same information at the same amount of time. And the facts are that I have asked our council president for the lawsuit as of yesterday, and I did not receive a response. It's important to ask these questions in front of the public. The public deserves to know. Now, I'm not saying council president was hiding anything at all, but I deserve the same information that he deserves. Those are just the facts. Nobody has to get into a fight over it. We just have to be transparent with you. No one's fighting. We're all having good conversations. Greg's not hiding anything, but it's more important when he gets the information, we also deserve the same information, and we have to be more transparent around that. So thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Bob Pulowski, 3 Crest Acre Court. I'm not the tallest guy. On the lawsuit, I think some of the frustration is that, we have, on September 5th, we put this proposed ordinance out there, right? And then the next meeting is when we're all supposed to be able to come and comment about it. And the complaint in a lot of people's minds was pretty relevant piece of information, something people may have liked to have considered, and maybe come in and spoken about the ordinance. I'm glad that the ordinance has been passed, but, from a trust and transparency perspective, Greg, if you knew about it on the 14th, you could have told the public. Public could have looked it up. The existence of a lawsuit, I don't think is privileged or anything like that. So, but I think we're moving in the right direction, and maybe if something like this happens again, you guys will get the information out earlier. Thanks.
Thank you again. Just to clarify the process related to the ordinance that we passed this evening was introduced on the 5th of September. It needed to be reviewed by the planning board for consistency with the master plan. We don't set the planning board's meeting agenda, so we had to wait until they met, which we did, and now we had the opportunity to have a hearing about it, just so everybody's clear about that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think I got the adjustment right. Hi, my name is Dave Gale. I live on Parkview Terrace. I've been a resident of Summit since 2018 with my wonderful wife. We couldn't be happier to be raising our one-year-old daughter in a community like this. But I hope we can show her a better example than what we are seeing here tonight. I read a Tap Into article about a complaint filed against the City of Summit by Broad Street West developers. I have also seen some chatter online where some of my fellow residents seem surprised by this complaint. This has always been a potential reality. Candidate for mayor Elizabeth Fagan spoke about the financial liability right here at the July 5th meeting. I don't think she had any inside knowledge that some of our current council members did not. It's unfortunate that many of our neighbors have joined a cause that is spreading misinformation and failing to propose any actual solutions. And I hope we can come out from behind our Facebook accounts and actually talk to one another face to face. We live in a very talented, dedicated, intelligent community, so why not collaborate, proposing solutions about how we can bring our community together rather than slinging around misinformation to tear our community apart. It's easy to stand here at this podium and say reject this agreement or comment on Facebook to vote them out. What isn't easy is to sit where our council members are all sitting right now and actually govern, be thoughtful, listen to both sides of an argument, and propose meaningful solutions that will move Summit forward. I'm here tonight because, quite frankly, I'm tired of sitting at home hearing people come up to this podium or seeing people comment online and complain but fail to say what they would do differently. Folks, a great thing happened over the last few years. Neighbors came together to advocate for a cause they believed in, and their elected officials listened. I want everybody to remember this essential fact. Your council members heard your concerns throughout this process. They listened to you, and they did something about this. I don't know about you, but that's exactly what I think elected officials should do. It may take a little time to shut the book on it, but Broad Street West is indeed over, period, full stop. The truth is, you can't unwind this agreement overnight. No matter what critics may say, this takes careful consideration. And I want to remind everyone who has a short memory on this, Broad Street West was a bipartisan effort that originated under a Republican council. It's time for those who were most critical of Broad Street West to stop throwing stones and share your solutions. I watched the candidates forum, and I was shocked that after all this time, the candidates many of Broad Street opponents are supporting barely had an answer about what their plans are for that area. Instead of focusing on the past, I hope people will start to look at the present and the future. At the end of the day, we need to remember that we are all neighbors. Our children go to school together, play sports together, grow up together. Let's work together to make Summit an even better place to live, work, and raise a family in, instead of finding ways to tear it down. I personally love music, so I'll leave you with the lyrics from the song We Just Disagree by Dave Mason. So let's leave it alone, because we can't see eye to eye. There ain't no good guy, there ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Diego Hoyt and Argyle Court. I just wanted to be clear on one thing. After September 19th, any one of the 7 council members could have told our population that there was a lawsuit, correct? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's not
Actually,
true.
may I make a comment? That's actually not true. So can we talk about that for a second?
Matt, do you want to address that?
Sorry. Can we repeat the question and just have some dialogue on this, because it's important?
No, I got it. So the gentleman said after September 19th, anybody could have commented on it.
I'm sorry, I still can't understand. Anybody could have shared the lawsuit.
So what the gentleman said is that anyone could have shared the lawsuit after September 19th. As I explained earlier, I'm not going to get into a closed session. There was a discussion about the lawsuit. The first time I learned of it was that Friday. I looked it up. I was traveling to a wedding. I spoke to Michael. We then spoke to the Law and Labor Committee on the Tuesday, which was the 19th, and then we talked to the whole council on the 19th. I didn't bring copies of the lawsuit with me. I explained the lawsuit, and I also explained the need for special counsel, which was appointed tonight, Mr. Scrivo. So people were aware of a lawsuit, but I did not hand out copies of the actual lawsuit to anybody. No one asked me for it. I think I gave it to Michael.
But Matt, you did tell everyone at closed session how they could access the lawsuit, the complaint online.
I can't.
No. We weren't told how to access the complaint. We were told that it was filed. The question he's asking is, could we have shared the information that we were being sued? That
It's
was
a public
in.
document.
Yes, it's a public document.
Can we keep this?
How could we have shared that?
No one asked me whether or not they could share it. I just
Correct.
made you guys aware that a lawsuit had been filed, and I did explain something, and one gentleman made a good point. Generally, when people file lawsuits, I'm a lawyer, we do it all the time. You file a lawsuit, if you know the adversary, you call them up and say, hey, will you accept service on behalf of your client? And that gives you the notice that there's a lawsuit filed. Generally, Laura, we don't go out and just start scanning the 21 county courts to see if lawsuits are filed, or scanning the federal district courts to see if a lawsuit was filed. Newspaper reporters used to do that. They used to sit in the courthouse. They don't do that anymore either. So the first time I was aware of it, or got wind of it, was on the 15th. So I did not share the actual lawsuit with anybody publicly, but I did disclose it to the council on the 19th. And frankly, that was the first time I could meet with you guys as a governing body.
Let's wrap up this discussion.
Yeah, but my thinking on this was, after I learned about it, that I wanted to meet with our special counsel before I went out and said anything to the public, just so I could understand what we were dealing with. I mean, when you're in litigation, one thing that we're often cautioned about is not to go out and speak to the public. So,
I would not recommend you guys talk substantively about the lawsuit or the claims. That's something that we will ferret out in court, that Mr. Scrivo will ferret out, as he explained this evening, the strategies, et cetera. But, just the presence of a lawsuit, it wasn't served on you guys. I was, gave it to Michael. But again, it was just to talk to Michael about getting special counsel. And then I called the special counsel, as I explained, to make sure that Mr. Scrivo's firm did not represent any of the developers, so there wouldn't be a conflict. Because that, frankly, and I shared this with Michael, that's a huge issue, because one of the developers is a massive developer that many, many, many major firms in the state do work for. So that was a concern of both Michael and I in trying to identify somebody who is super capable.
Okay, thank you.
Council President Vartan, members of the Salmon County Council, members present, and people viewing. My name is John DeSocio. I live at 17 Stiles Road, Summit, New Jersey. I am a member of the Summit Elks Lodge, 1246 40 Maple Street, Summit. I am the chairman of the Scholarship Committee. The Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks of the United States of America gives out $4 million in scholarships each year. Last year, we had 4 children from the local area win a scholarship from our, through our lodge. Anybody that has a child, a senior in high school, should go to their local high school guidance council, and they will give the information. It's very simple. They go online to elks.org, go to scholarships, fill out a profile, and fill in the information and apply. Also, I am also the chairman of the Drug Awareness Committee, and thank you, Lisa, for kindly our talk on drugs on Sunday, September 24th, up at the Oaks. We had 8 speakers that really had a great discussion. People, if you had attended it, you would have gone away with knowledge to save a life of a friend or a relative. And we're also, last year we had an initiative. We raised our drinks $1 a drink from now until December 31st. And last year we gave away we raised enough money to give away $60,000 to charity, mostly local. So come up to the Oaks and after this, and have a drink on me.
Thank you, John.
Having recently become an elk, that number makes sense to me. Thank you very much, John, for the update. Okay.
Good evening. Claire Toth, TOTH, 11 Sunset Drive. Let's look forward. We're about to have an essentially piece of vacant land adjacent to downtown Summit. We've heard a lot about what people don't want. Although the city is not going to develop this property, it will sell it to somebody who will. The city should have some voice in what happens. I've been having conversations with people about what would they like to see at Broad Street West. I don't know what else to call it. And I don't hear a whole lot of ideas, of positive ideas. The one that does keep coming up, and I think it's one worth considering, is including some sort of age-restricted housing in that property, if possible. There are an awful lot of empty nesters rattling around big houses in Summit because they want to stay here and there's nowhere to go. And I think that that would be an interesting part of a solution on a scale in keeping with the Summit we all know and love, along with perhaps some retail and we know some affordable housing. But I think that a mix of those sorts of things would be a good place to start. I also think it's the beginning of the conversation, not the end, and that all of the energy we've seen from the community in the past 18 months should perhaps be directed to thinking forward instead of rehashing what we've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
A couple of things about this story, Gagnon. A couple of things about this lawsuit. I know we're still stuck on who said what when, but if somebody told me I was getting sued, the first thing I would do is want to get a copy of it, right? Especially Council President Vartan, your name is referenced in this lawsuit. It says your name in here. It also says the planning board members. So, which terms of the Summit Planning Board are they referring to? Are they referencing current, past, or both members of the planning board? Because former Council President David Nadeau was part of the Summit Planning Board when he joined council in 2016. And Broad Street West redevelopment was launched in 2018 when David Nadeau became council president. So considering himself and city administrator Michael Rogers as the chief negotiators with the builders, the consultants, and the developers, has Council President Vartan been in conversation and discussion with Broad Street West redevelopers and the originator, Mr. Nadeau, prior to July 5th council meeting and since then. As Mr. Nadeau, by profession, it's in his environmental, and he's also a land use lawyer. So I think this is really important to understand the planning board, as he's been involved with both then and on council. But again, this lawsuit says a lot of names, and it should have been handed out. And I would have looked at it or tried to find it or given, help with our attorney to say, how can I find this? Because not everybody understands that. The other thing, as referencing the gentleman who spoke before, I don't think you're aware of what Residents for Summit did. We gave a model to Mr. Rogers that he worked off of with the Broad Street West manager redevelopment group, Toll Brothers and L&M, and they worked off that model. So if it wasn't for us fighting for the last 2 years, we wouldn't have gotten where we are today. So, this lawsuit right here, they're speaking about us and this 59 units that they put forth to the city. So you guys being angry at us, I don't even know what your speech is about, because Deborah Oliver in the back worked her butt off with this model, and everyone should be thanking her. Not tearing her down. We worked really hard, and Mr. Rogers knows that. We've talked to him, we've worked hard with the mayor and everybody here on council. We can work together, and we were working on accomplishing something, and I can guarantee Broad Street West will be something great, and we can all work together on it. I know we can.
Very good. Thank you. All right. I'm going to close the...
Can I just say one thing, just because
Yeah.
Jonathan referenced me, and I just want to recognize that. The job of a council person is to be up here and be the voice of the people. And I'm an amiable. I never want to argue. I don't like conflict. I hate saying no. And I get told that a lot by people on this council, that I should be not so nice all the time. But the way that I see this is that we're not supposed to agree all of the time. 95%, I would say almost 98% of the time, I vote with these colleagues in favor of the same things. And last year, I wasn't an obstructionist. I listened to people who felt that they hadn't been heard in the community, that the development was just too big. And we can agree to disagree on the song. So I just want to be really clear that tonight, I'm not being an obstructionist. This is really the time that we can actually have a full conversation with every single one of us. We can talk all one-on-one, but this is the only place we can deliberate, and that's my job. So I apologize if you think that I'm an obstructionist. Oh wait, I didn't really intend for that to.
Sir, no, sir.
Well, I'll finish. I'll finish.
Can we?
I'll just finish.
I'm
sorry. I'll just finish.
We've had your public comment on this topic.
I'm sorry. So all I wanted to say is.
So can we? Let's wrap up.
Okay, I just want to finish. I'm sorry. I didn't say that you could. I was just trying to finish my say. All I wanted to say was, I'm here to represent the community. We're going to disagree on some things. I'm not here to be an obstructionist. So that's it. Thank you, Council President.
Yeah.
I had a public comment I wanted to make. I didn't know.
Separate from what's on the agenda.
A public comment, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's really after hearing people's speech, and I think that the problem is, I don't think a lot of the community understands what we went through trying to stop this. It really shouldn't have been that hard. And there's people who are under the impression that council finally listened to the residents and what the residents were saying about the size and the scale and the scope of everything. And I think that what people don't understand, and I'm sorry if I throw anybody under the bus here, it's just I've kind of sat on this for way too long. People don't understand why it actually stopped, okay? And the reason why it stopped was not what everybody was saying. We had that community center meeting where Deb Oliver was holding the boxes, and it went on for 6 hours. It was moved out of here because it was too big. Everybody except for Lisa Allen voted to move the new amended redevelopment plan that conformed to this monstrosity onto the planning board for a consistency determination. Once that wheel was set in motion and the planning board did that, it was a done deal. The building was happening. You guys chose to do that. That night, somebody presented the rents that the Upton down the street over, but you, Marjorie, you know this. Somebody presented the rents that the Upton was getting and talked about how they were 35 to 54% higher than what the developers were saying in their projections, showing that the developers were way underpaying and destroying us financially. That would have dropped an 88% right down to the bottom line NOI, would have bumped up the price of the building, the value of the building by 88%. That person was Michael Rogers. He heard me say that, okay? The next morning, he called Bob Powell, who you still hadn't fired to this point. He called Bob Powell to understand what Bob Powell did in a rental analysis. Bob Powell hummed and hawed. Michael realized, oh my gosh, we are getting screwed. Called you, Marjorie, from what I'm told, and you.
I love this fiction because this is
Hey,
all a
let's
fiction
let Mr. McGowan finish.
This is what I was told. Sorry, Michael. Told you we can't do the deal. It's financially awful. You called the other council members that morning. It all lines up with what happened. You called the other council members that morning and said we need to do a vote to reverse this and didn't say why. So you had, I don't know, everybody remembers, after that, you guys called an emergency meeting to rescind the vote that you did so it didn't go to the planning board. Okay? That's when it got killed because Michael realized it was actually a really, really bad financial deal.
Well, thank you for your bedtime story. It's completely made up,
Okay.
but
All right.
it was
Okay.
a lot of fun.
Thank you.
So
Thank
that
you for
didn't
your
happen.
thank you for your comment.
Correct, it did not
Okay.
happen that way.
Thank you for your comment.
Well, that's what I was told, so that's what I...
Well, yes, because you're all knowing.
Marjorie, Marjorie. All right, we're closing the public comments portion of the evening at this point, and we're going to move on very quickly, please.
Very quickly. Erwin Miller, 5 Nob Hill Drive. I know that's a partisan effort to, I don't even care about powers of women, I care, but I'll let you all sort it out. But just a reminder, it's bipartisan, but it's only bipartisan now. You know, like this is only stopped because of the people like Dory who raised their voices a year ago, however long ago. So anyone out here moralizing about how we should all calm down or whatever is the people who raised their voices that got this thing to stop, not the Democrats out here.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Now the public comments are closed, and now we're moving on to council member comments and new business.
I guess I'll go.
Yep.
I would just like to make an update. First I'd like to say, everybody, thank you for coming tonight. This is an important item. For those of you who couldn't be in the closed session boxing ring tonight, which we can't divulge any of the information, it was a battle tonight to get here and put this area in need of redevelopment with the planning board. And you may not see it up here, but we accomplished tonight in closed session. I'm really proud of. And it wasn't pretty, but I'm proud that we can stand together and represent all of you. I think what everybody has to get used to is looking out in the crowd with Mike McTiernan and some previous council members. It's important that we have dialogue up here. It's really important because if we don't, we're violating the spirit of the Sunshine Law. And it's really important to have dialogue. So the more transparent and the more dialogue we can have up here for you, hopefully in the end, we won't be fighting as much. So thank you for coming here to listen to all of this, and hopefully we're in a better path going forward. Real quick for my committees, the haunted hike is this Saturday at Martinsbrook Park on Butler Parkway. There's a less scary ride from 6 to 7 and a scary hike from 7 to 8 where creatures may pop out. Sunday is the Fiesta Latina beginning at 4 p.m. On Monday, October 16th, there's a self-defense class for seniors at the Summit Community Center. You can call the office. And finally, on October 18th, we'll be having a community open house at 6 p.m. on the Village Green to review and discuss Maybe Playground. We're going to do it right there on the Village Green so that everybody can look at the plans. We want your feedback. We want your ideas. And we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.
What's the date of the Maybe Playground thing again?
Let me just double check.
October
October
18th.
18th at 6 p.m.
Okay. Excellent. All righty. Other council member comments, new business? Yeah.
I just want to thank the mayor for a moment of silence for Ellen Dixon, Honorable Ellen Dixon. The City of Summit put out a beautiful tribute to her, and she was really an extraordinary woman. So I just wanted to say thank you.
And obviously, the bunting outside is in her honor.
Thank you. Okay, other council member comments, new business? Nope. Okay.
I had one thing.
Sure.
So we've gotten a lot of questions about paving and road work. Everything can be found on construction updates, which is a page on the city's website. It's all there. So, I would urge everyone to go take a look at that. If you go to the bottom, all the PSE&G things are at the bottom. You have to click through a couple screens to get there, but everything is listed. PSE&G is only up to the 16th of October. We're going to be there's one more tranche of streets that's going to happen October 16th till hopefully weather permitting before it gets too cold. So we are aware that there's some streets that haven't been scheduled yet. It's not that we've forgotten your streets. We're just trying to get the information out of PSE&G. So I just wanted to provide that update.
Actually,
Thank you.
Can I make a quick change? David Guida just was texting me. I think we're moving the maybe playground meeting. So we'll put out
Okay.
an official announcement, but I think it might be moving. So I'll let you and Amy Carnes so scrap what I said about that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think at this point, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We're adjourned.